Howdy, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 2, part 2, on the Babblegeeks Podcasting Network. My name is Jason, and as always, to my right is Kacey.
Hello.
Yes. Now, obviously, the Star Wars teaser came out last week. That's the big deal going on. And so we had to jump all over that because we both have memories of Star Wars. We're in that, what would you call it, that demographic or age range that grew up with Star Wars, and it's a big part of our lives. So we want to talk about our background with Star Wars, and
we have separate and we have experiences together.
Yeah, when you get to the prequels.
Early years of our friendship, we have some really lame stories.
Yeah, I remember going around to all the Walmarts trying to collect.
We did collect everything.
Every
and then we
figure.
sold them to your dumb friend for a large amount of money, and he sold them on eBay for a much larger amount of money.
First of all, he's not dumb.
No, he's not.
Second of all, he bought his own toys, and he wasn't even a toy collector, and he thought that was...
We got him totally addicted to buying
He was
toys.
running around to Walmarts. We went to North Carolina, and he was running around to Walmarts with us.
We did go to North Carolina.
Because we were insisting on getting the 001, on the packages. Remember the...
all that time I would love to get back in my life.
But he was smart. He took his line, and he sold it for double the amount that he paid for it. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to start with your childhood memories of Star Wars?
Sure, because I don't think mine are quite as good as yours.
No, don't set me up like that. There's no way I can.
No, it's just you're a year older than me, and I don't remember Star Wars. I don't think I went to it. I was very young, and I apparently did go see Empire Strikes Back, but I don't have any memory of it at all.
You lie.
I wish I did, because it's my favorite now. But I do remember Return of the Jedi, and I was the perfect age to actually like the Ewoks and think they were awesome, because it's like I was a little girl and they were like a teddy bear the size of me that I could hug and probably, force my love on. And
yeah, I understand.
As a little girl, I totally loved the Ewoks. But
I think Lucas knew what he was doing.
But I have no memories of life without Star Wars.
I have very little memories of life in general.
No, but you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
But since I have memory of existing, Star Wars has been there, and I've seen the original ones so many times I don't even know how many times. I lost count in high school.
Yeah, once they came to VHS in the 80s, that's really what people... Here's what you have to understand. A child of the 80s, it was all about VHS.
Right.
And so, that's really where Star Wars became so important, because, I understand you, me, both, we watched over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then, I would
drop... That was the thing. That was the cool thing when I got to college. Everybody, other than Monty Python and The Simpsons, everybody quoted Star Wars, and I was like, yes, I can do this. I know every line.
I had a bit of a different experience in college.
I know. Well, you went somewhere where Star Wars was probably evil.
Everyone was quoting
Scripture.
From Scripture, yes. God almighty.
Oh, my God. Poor
bastard.
Poor bastard.
Okay. Shall I share my...
Sure, please do.
Triumphant childhood memories?
Yes.
You set me up.
Yes.
Okay.
Triumphant.
Now, I have this very distinct memory, not in the theater, but sitting outside of the theater waiting to go in. And I don't know if it was for the first Star Wars or if it was for Empire. But I have this memory of sitting very excited, waiting to go in. And all of these older kids were streaming out of the last showing, coming out of the theater. And they were pointing little fake... Why are you laughing? What's so? I haven't even.
I've never heard this story, but I have this sad feeling of what you're gonna say.
No, there's no sad ending.
Okay, I thought you were
gonna drag me outside and kick my ass.
No, I thought you were gonna say they were running out while you were waiting, screaming, "Darth Vader is Luke's father," and you just
Yeah. No, I probably.
I'm sure that happened to a lot of people though.
I don't know, but I'm sure it did. Evidently, I remember there was a time where you would be here. Spoilers back then. Is where you stood in line at the theater
and heard an asshole
and heard some other asshole talking about the movie and spoiling it that way rather than getting it spoiler online. And somehow that was worse because it was.
Oh well, there they
you were in physical presence. Yeah,
you could give them a dirty look
or sometimes you'd get into a screaming match or worse. I'm sure.
Imagine being our age now, then standing in line and hearing somebody walking out saying, "I can't believe Darth Vader is Luke's father."
No tolerance. I'd be in jail right now. I'd be in prison happily. Anyway, so I have this. When you have those childhood memories that you were so young, and it's weird to have a memory from that age.
Yeah, they're kind of dreamlike.
Yeah, it's not. It's you think they're memories you shouldn't have because you're so young.
Right.
And I remember the older kids walking. I remember they had the longer floppy hair, and
like little Danny Torrance.
Little, but they were a little older, and they were like using their hands.
Pew.
Yeah, they were making
pew.
Making little blasters out of their hands and shooting at each other.
Oh, back when kids had like imagination. And
imagination, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my memory, and then
that's a good memory.
Of course, I saw them in the theater, and I, like you, I definitely remember. No, now this memory is just now coming back to me. It's weird. I was somewhat traumatized by Empire. No, really, I do remember that because
Empire's got some traumatizing stuff in
when
it.
Darth Vader and Luke are fighting at the towards the end, I do. Oh man, I do remember seeing that in the theater and being scared. Yeah. I remember feeling scared when Darth Vader was using the Force to throw stuff at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crates.
I remember being wow, that memory just popped back into my head. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think you would remember the original the first one. You'd be too young.
But Empire.
Yeah.
I remember that being scared during that scene. And Return of the Jedi, I saw it. I don't have any specific memories, but like you were saying, it's all about VHS. Watching it over and over with my cousin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched with my
cousin. It was
cousins.
one of the movies that I watched over and over with my cousin. Now, I do have to say that I grew up more of a Star Trek fan, much more of a Star Trek. I was a Star Trek kid. I started watching the original series when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Same here.
And when you play with your friends, for me, I always wanted to play Star Trek over Star Wars. Also, what other? We'd go. This is back in the day when you would go outside and play. Mm-hmm. And the three things you would play if you're going to play movies and TV show, at least for me, Star Trek, Star Wars, and Raiders. And
you were lucky. I lived. My neighborhood was. I was the only girl, and it was all redneck boys who were two or 3 years older than me, who were very mean. And but we played like superheroes, but I did always get to be Wonder Woman. But they still disobeyed the laws.
Disobeyed them. That's hilarious.
The superhero laws of like none of my things were like honored.
You couldn't block their powers with your.
Every play thing in my neighborhood ended up with me being held down and tickled, usually till I peed my pants.
Hilarious. I mean, I'm sorry. I know that was traumatizing, but
it was okay. I kicked him and punched him.
I bet you got angry when
I was like 6 or 7.
When you're trying to use your wrist to block
I was trying to use my wristbands and my lasso. I would do my lasso at one of them, and they'd just stand there and laugh at me, and then come shove me down.
Sorry.
And they'd sit on me and tickle me.
But that's what it was like. That it's a little different now. I think. I don't know.
And then me and my cousins, all they wanted to do was play Barbies. So.
Well, I would just,
So alone,
if I found
Star Trek
myself
Star Wars
at a little girl's house with, not now.
Yeah, clarify that. Please.
When I was a child, when I would find myself at a house where girls were playing with Barbies, I would turn them into Star Trek or Star Wars characters. I mean, this is naturally. I mean, you got to work with what you got to work with. For instance, my parents didn't believe in buying me a toy gun when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I went out in the woods. We lived out in the woods. I went out in the woods and collected sticks. And I remember I had a phaser. And eventually they broke down and bought me a blaster. Star Trek toys were hard to find.
Yes, they were. We're lucky now.
But Star Wars, if you were a kid and you love Star Wars more than anything else, you were lucky because you could get blasters and lightsabers, and Millennium Falcon had the Millennium Falcon, of course, and
I had a ton of those toys.
And I think the reason why
Star Wars toys were easy.
They were easy to get. Yeah, Toys R Us.
If Star Trek toys had been that easy to get back then, oh my God.
They were hard to get.
I would have had no Barbies at all.
I've got a very sad story that I'll share sometime about having to give up this rare Star Trek phaser at like the age of 7.
It's a really sad story, and it makes me want to punch your mom in the face.
I'll tell it sometime when we're talking Star Trek. Okay, but we need to get back on track.
Trek story.
So yeah, where was I? What was I saying? Where am I? What am I doing? Yeah, it had an influence on me because me and my cousin, we started making these videos together, little short films. And obviously, like a lot of people, the Star Wars movies had a big impact on the imagination.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll wrap it up there. Moving ahead. Well, I guess before we get to the prequels, remember when they reissued the original, like it was, I believe it was 95 or 96? Somewhere in there, they reissued.
Actually,
no, it was 96
around
or 97.
the time that we met because we were both working at the video store.
Yeah, 97, I believe. 96, 97.
I'm not sure about the date.
It was when Lucas decided to fiddle with the originals. And they released them in a theater. And I remember going to see those and obviously instantly not liking the changes that were made. But it was fun in any case to see it on the big screen again after so much time had passed.
But I hate what he did.
Yeah. Well, let's...
the South Park where they...
Use your hate.
Seriously, I don't know. A lot of... I think most fans hate it, but some people who don't really get into stuff as much don't understand the hatred of, like, the Han shot first thing. That changes his character from the moment you meet him.
Oh, one thing I was going to say.
In a profound way. It's like, it's a little different than Spielberg putting walkie-talkies in their hands instead of guns in E.T. That doesn't profoundly change a main character from the first moment you meet them. That's a big difference.
I think the reason why all the fanboys got so incredibly and viciously angry about that is because, going back to the childhood thing, whenever you would play Star Wars as a kid, you always wanted to be Han Solo, not Luke Skywalker. At least
I would think if I was a little boy, I'd be like, I want to be Han.
Everybody wanted to be Han, so, yeah. Han's roguish.
As a girl, I liked Han, and I did not like Luke in that way.
In that way. Okay, yeah. Well.
They make Luke very much brotherly from the beginning.
Even though him and Leia engage in incest, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, well. Let's not go down the incest road.
We talked about incest in our first podcast.
Yeah, that's no good.
No, we don't need to do that.
It's not right.
Yeah.
So, moving ahead to...
What's your favorite of the originals?
Empire.
Me too.
I'm not just saying that because it just simply is the best.
It's the best in every way.
The first one...
The story is... The script is great.
Which the great thing is that the man who wrote the script for Empire, Lawrence Kasdan, also wrote the script for the new Star Wars movie.
Yes. The Force Awakens.
Yeah, the Force Awakens. Let's...
Do you want to tell the story real quick about our... when we camped out for tickets to the... Oh my God, I cannot wait for episode 1.
Yeah, it's really weird that there's a new Star Wars movie coming out,
and that we have the ability to be excited about it.
Yeah, it's really strange that it's happening again. Because there was so much excitement over. It had been, I believe, 18 years between Return and The Phantom Menace, and it was very exciting. And it was my birthday. Okay, you remember that? It came out right on my birthday.
Yeah, it was so hot.
Yes, it was.
Outside.
It was hot. We got sunburns. We
the
camped
theater
out.
was not accommodating to the camping out people at all.
Yeah, this is back when you really did have to camp out for the tickets, and so we camped out all night and went and got the tickets. I remember, though, it was so crazy because there were so many tie-ins and toys. I remember driving around and.
No, what we would do is this. Okay, Domino's. And other
Pizza Hut,
Taco Bell, and KFC had those cups.
Yeah.
And they had these big. I'm sure everyone remembers them. They were these giant plastic cups with this big giant hard plastic sculpture bust head thing of tons of the characters.
And they spread them out between the three.
They one store had these, one of the three had these, and the third had the rest of them. So what we would do is because we were too dumb and cheap to buy $10 chairs at Walmart.
Yeah, why?
We had this crappy blanket that happened to be in the back of my car. I think.
That was horrible.
It was my blanket that I used to, if I had an 8 o'clock or earlier class at college and I could not possibly go to bed and wake up that early, I'd drive to the school about 5:30 in the morning and set a battery alarm and sleep under my blanket in the car so that I could crawl out and go to class.
Yeah.
That blanket, we laid it on the ground on the hard cement.
Did we even have a cooler?
No.
What kind of planning is that?
We had no planning. And of course, at that time, we didn't have, our little iPhones with all our games.
There was nothing. Oh, it's so dated because I remember we were sitting, I was sitting next to a guy who worked at MCI.
Yeah, I remember that.
Selling long distance.
Yep, I remember that.
Oh my God. I mean, not only did we not have cell phones, not only did we not have iPhones, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything. And I was sitting next to a guy who was telling me about his job selling long distance service.
Yeah.
That's how dated that is.
Yeah. So what we did was I would sit there.
Yeah, and I would go around.
In the heat, the sweltering heat. No shade. It was just out on concrete. And you'd drive down to Taco Bell and I think you may have gone just to get us lunch or something.
And I was like, oh my God,
these cups.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So we were like, these are cool.
Yeah.
And we had obviously not seen the movie yet. This is before the movie came out, so we were so excited. So we would take turns sitting on the blanket on the ground and going to various
to collect the cups.
Places to collect the cups.
No beverage in it, just the cups.
Just the cups.
That...
And we ended up with all of them.
Yep.
And oh my God.
Every single one.
I remember years ago, mine, I just threw them away.
Yeah.
I didn't even try to sell them at a yard sale.
I don't have them. I don't have a one.
They were just...
You know what I do have? I still have my Return of the Jedi glass
Yeah.
glass that was either from Burger King. I think it's from Burger King. But I
think it was Burger King.
It was from 1983.
Yeah.
And I have that glass still to this day. I still drink out of it.
I have that Star Trek glass that's actually got the ring things at the bottom that looks like a Star Trek glass.
Right.
It was was it Burger King or?
I'll tell you what, I'll trade you my Star Wars glass for yours. No, I can't do that.
No,
I'm too attached.
No.
If that glass ever breaks, I think my mind will break.
I think we have an ET glass that I'm not sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
A stroll down Amnesia Lane.
Yeah. But then, of course, we saw the movie, and then those cups were meaningless to us.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So
I don't even want to talk about the movies.
We're not going to talk about all 3 movies. Here's what I'm going to say about The Phantom Menace. So it was so exciting. The trailer was a knockout.
Yeah.
And we did watch that online. I remember watching that online. It was back when you had to let it load and load and load.
Right.
But then once it was loaded, you watched it over and over and over again. It was a damn good trailer. So there was a lot of excitement.
Was Jar Jar in the trailer? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Was the use of people gonna die in the trailer? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think
because I remember we were all excited about it. Except that one thing we're like,
what is that?
Use of people gonna die? Really? And then South Park came out,
right,
the movie with the extremely racist, but good satire. Good satire.
Anyway, the trailer was exciting, just like this new trailer is exciting, and when you saw the movie, this was my experience. I didn't come walking out of the theater thinking, God, that sucked. That was horrible. I came out of the theater in a state of denial.
Everyone there was
trying to tell myself,
you could hear people talking.
That was good. Oh, yeah, that was great. In the back of my head, I knew it sucked, but I couldn't allow it was too much of a crushing blow to be, it was like grief. It was grief. You needed that little moment of shock but it was the bargaining part of grief.
Yeah.
Where you're like, no, it was good. And then you go see it again, and you're trying to tell yourself the whole time, oh, this is actually good.
Yeah, we went to see it again because we had to, because
we didn't know. We knew, but we, and
the hope that, okay, this time I'll get it this time, and
for months. It took months before I could actually admit that it was a terrible movie.
I don't think it took me as long because I'm kind of that way. I think it took me, after I saw it the second time, I was like,
I was just clinging to the notion this can't be bad. There's no way that.
But pod race was that what it was called?
The pod race, yeah.
That was good special effects, but as we know from George Lucas himself, isn't it George Lucas whose quote is "special effect without a story is
Yeah. I remember. There's an old
good quote, George Lucas
interview with George Lucas where he says a special effect. I can't remember exactly.
A special effect without a story is
it's nothing.
It's something like that.
In other words, he was saying it's story first.
In other words, he was full of shit.
I don't know. That's a whole. We could do a Lucas rant, but let's not.
No,
that will take forever. I do want to just briefly say that the prequels, to me at least, there were a lot of people who are younger than us who they were our age when the prequels came out. Mm-hmm. Just like we were their age when the original. They were the same age when the prequels came out. There are a lot of people who love the prequels who were of that younger generation, and I can understand that. They were kids. And these prequels, a lot of it, especially the first one, was very targeted at children, so they probably have fond memories, like I would have fond memories of something from the 80s.
Right.
But, I can look, if I go back and use my adult brain and look at the original Star Wars, I can say the first one was lightning in a bottle. It was a fun little fantasy flick.
Yeah.
I can look at the second one and say that is truly a really, really good movie.
I agree.
That's still watchable to this day. I can look at the third one and say, this is where it started to go towards Kittyland. But it's still a fun movie.
Yeah,
it has its moments.
It has
it's fun.
a satisfying.
The conclusion with the Emperor and Darth Vader and all that. The prequels, it was just it didn't have the Star Wars feel. I think that was the biggest thing, and that's will lead us into the teaser trailer here. It didn't have that feel of the originals. To his credit, I don't think Lucas was going for that. I mean, he always said that the prequels were supposed to be like a soap opera with bad acting.
Yeah.
Which is really...
And
soap operas have better acting than those movies had.
Who doesn't like, trade negotiations in a space battle epic?
Oh, I remember distinctly.
I remember in the theater
that crawl,
whispering to you all kinds of stuff about the
trade routes and nobody wants. Who cares about that?
Yeah, who cares about that? And I, as much as I dislike Jar Jar Binks, he has what I do on Twitter with the hashtag wars has provided hours of entertainment. I do have to say that one positive thing. Making fun,
of course, but I do have to say the prequels had their moments. I would say Attack of the Clones was the worst one because, for one thing, when you were a kid, there was always that mythology of the Clone Wars, and what was that all about?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big disappointment. But the movie itself, I would say, is the weakest of the three. Moments that I liked, like the last movie, what was it called?
No memory.
Rise of the whatever.
I couldn't tell you.
Revenge of the Sith. Was that it? Revenge of the Sith? Is that the last? Okay.
I don't know.
The last 15 minutes of that movie felt like Star Wars because it was leading into.
I remember when we went to see it, whatever it was called. I won't even exert the effort to click a foot from to look it up. Revenge of the Sith sounds right. I care so little.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Good title.
Yeah. The last little, I guess, montage, wasn't it kind of... I never watched it again.
The last little 15 minutes when the
twins
were born.
Where it's leading into what we like.
Right, exactly.
Was probably the only thing I liked about the whole first three.
The Phantom Menace had some moments. The lightsaber duel at the end with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul. That was pretty good. I mean, that was the closest it came to feeling like Star Wars. And I think Darth Maul was a pretty interesting character with his double.
But that was his
lights.
Character. He looked he had red and horns and a double-sided lightsaber. That was his character.
But there were no characters in this prequels, really.
No!
The acting was so horrible. And from great actors, too. I mean,
my God.
Ewan McGregor.
Jar Jar Binks was one of the more developed characters.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Now, here's what we're going to do now.
I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'd sit and watch them all, whatever.
Of course. Can't bash them too much. We're going to sit and watch this teaser trailer now. And we're just going to pause it to make comments.
Yeah, we're not watching the whole thing in one go.
No, we're gonna pause it and make comments.
Talk about what we see.
Piecemeal. Okay, so go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And fade into Tatooine.
We assume.
I'd
assume.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more than one.
And you hear
sandy planet.
Andy Serkis, which sounds like Benedict Cumberbatch, saying...
I don't think he sounds like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Well, sort of. A lot of people thought he did.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Huh.
But it's Andy Serkis and he's saying,
there has been an awakening.
And then you have John Boyega, if that's how you pronounce his name.
That looks right to me.
You know, I don't. He's a British actor. He was in Attack the Block. He's a young guy.
That's what he was in.
Yeah. Now,
thank you.
The first time I watched this trailer, when he popped up on the screen, it was kind of jarring. And I actually kind of thought at first I was watching another fake trailer because I had to go through so many fake trailers to find the real one before it was officially released. Rewatching it over and over, I've gotten used to it. Here's the best thing I can say. There is better acting going on in that 2 seconds than there is in all of the prequels combined.
Well, one thing... Well, you can't say, well, it's because he's a good actor, because there's great actors.
There is a sense of urgency.
In the other one.
It gives you a sense of...
He's obviously been directed. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. Therefore, there's some acting going on.
And he's in a stormtrooper outfit, obviously with no helmet. And we can only speculate as to what happened. Did he crash land on Tatooine? We don't know what the deal is, really. We could speculate on and on.
I like that guy.
I do, too. He looks like he fits into the Star Wars universe. Anyway, keep playing.
Okay, then next. Oh, and then, have you felt it, he says.
Have you felt it?
Not the guy on the screen, the voiceover.
It could be the guy alluding to the guy on the screen, maybe... maybe he has the Force within him.
Maybe so.
And it's interesting that
perhaps there are midichlorians forming in his...
Yeah, he's got a higher rate of midichlorians in him than even Master Yoda, I believe.
No, but that that was a nice, like, throw you right into it. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, at first I wasn't... But as I've watched it over, I'm like, yeah, that's good because there's so many questions.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of worried for him. Like,
is he really?
Is he scared?
Is he dressed up like in the original Star Wars? Is he wearing the uniform as disguise? Yes. Right. Or is he actually? I would prefer to think he's a stormtrooper who started out that way, and maybe
I would for him to be a stormtrooper that's a character.
Yes.
Not one of many with their helmets.
That's
that
an
would
awesome
be
thing.
Cool.
We never ever saw a stormtrooper with, real character.
It would be cool
yes.
If this guy was like a developed character who is a stormtrooper.
That's exciting, yes. So keep playing.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. And then the roly little robot that I love, and I'm sure there's people who hate it.
Back it up a little bit. It looks very JJ.
It reminds me of Bad Robot. JJ's
Yeah, so you've got this sort of new droid design. It was just like a ball with a head on top. Its
head is similar to the R2s and
I don't know how to feel about it, but
it's adorable.
Let's move on.
No, I'm sorry. That is an adorable droid.
And
if I lived there, I would have one of those.
That's fine. I'm not knocking it. I just don't know how I feel about it yet. Just like I
think it's a little nice Abrams touch.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's some, stuff.
Tatooine stuff in the background.
Tatooine junk looking stuff in the background.
Good old junky Tatooine.
Maybe he's running from the Jawas or something.
Maybe he's running away from John Boyega, who's gone mad with the Force. And he's chasing this little robot across the sand.
Sand people,
Then he runs into the sand people, and they take him into slavery. Okay, let's go on.
He can get out of anything. He rolls around. Look at him. How cute. Oh, so cute.
Harder for the Ewoks to...
pause
on that.
A little flashing Starship Troopers looking thing.
Play it a little bit further.
Stormtroopers with some pretty nice...
Play it a little bit further.
Cool looking...
Play. Okay, pause right there. Okay. This is my favorite part of the trailer, other than the end part.
It looks more realistic.
Yeah. This makes stormtroopers look like
They
look
hit a
badass.
target.
Yes, like they can actually hit
Yeah.
something, because in the original trilogy, stormtroopers were so inept.
Yeah.
I mean, they, like you said, they didn't hit their targets. They were, terrible shots.
Which this makes me
They were
think maybe
sometimes
the guy at
kinda
the beginning
goofy.
is
'Cause
a character stormtrooper.
They're being dropped
yeah,
into some kind of battle.
It's much more realistic looking.
And he could be in that drop. Maybe they're dropping onto Tatooine. I don't know. But it doesn't matter, because to me, what it shows is that they're taking the stormtroopers seriously, and I really, really like it. Makes them look badass. There's this cool factor to the way that looks, and I like it a lot.
I do too.
It makes me kind of want to root for the Empire a little bit. Go ahead and keep playing, I guess.
But yeah, I thought the same thing.
Now, pause.
Yeah.
This girl climbing onto that little, whatever you would call it, little tiny floaty.
Well, it looks like a metal popsicle, and she's sitting on the stick.
A rusty popsicle.
Yeah, it's a very.
I guess this is a
different
variation
little...
on Luke's dune buggy from Star Wars. Anyway, the young lady
dune buggy
jumping on her popsicle dune buggy.
Yeah.
My first thought, the first time I saw it, the first thing that popped in my head was, that looks like Carrie Fisher. That looks like a young Leia.
Yeah.
I mean, that could just be me.
I think
Maybe that's one of the children. I don't know.
maybe so.
Could be.
She does look like she was perhaps cast.
That quick shot,
to
my instant
slightly resemble
reaction.
her.
My instant reaction was, Leia or Carrie Fisher, and oh no, that's a young girl.
Of course, I kind of thought she looked a little bit like Amidala too.
Well, Amidala would be her grandmother.
Right.
So, yeah.
So she's probably in the family.
She's in the family, I think.
Because very much she looks.
But we really don't know
similar.
what she's up to.
No.
So it could be.
She's going for a ride though.
Maybe her and the guy at the beginning are going to hook up on Tatooine.
Maybe she'll come across him in the
the desert
there and
yeah,
give him a lift back
to his drop ship.
Yeah.
And then he'll just turn around and force choke her to death.
With his immense force power that we've given him.
I know what he'll do. He'll shoot electric bolts at poor little droid that you like and just blast them all to hell.
I will say this right now. If that cute little rolly droid it gets killed, like remember when R2 gets shot in the head and the first time you see it you're like, oh well, what the fuck? Not R2.
Yeah.
And he squeals. I bet that little droid, he makes cute sounds. And if he gets killed, I'll be so mad.
I bet he'll make a cute sound when he blows up.
Oh, God, don't do that.
Okay, play the trailer.
Okay, so she's on her popsicle.
Yeah, what can you say? She's just going across the desert.
Oh, it looked like she was headed to the same junky area where the little robot was. Droid, I'm sorry, we're in Star Wars.
Oh, no, okay, now we're inside.
TIE Fighters. Or
X-Wing.
X-Wing. TIE Fighter's bad.
TIE Fighter's bad. X-Wing good. And they are. This is one of the coolest shots in the teaser.
You get to see in the cockpit.
In the cockpit, and he's got pause on the cockpit because his helmet has a different design. It's like the Rebellion.
Mm-hmm. It looks more like the video games and stuff.
Here's what I want to say.
I can't see it really good.
At the end of Return of the Jedi, even as a child, when they blew up the Death Star and they won the battle at Endor. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing at me? You're a nerd too. What do you? Okay. You're still laughing. I don't. Okay. They killed the Emperor. They killed Darth Vader, and they blew up the Death Star and that fleet. But even as a child, I knew the Empire was still there. The Empire. They won a huge decisive battle. They cut the head off. They killed the Sith and the Death Star, which was their big mega weapon. but they still had a lot of mopping up to do. So now this is 30 years later, and obviously they're still battling. But I don't know who is in charge of the government.
It could have been like Contact, where why build one if you can build two, and there's another one floating out there.
I kind of thinking back on how sort of angry the Emperor was at how slowly it was being built.
I'd say that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry, I had a chance to throw out a Contact reference.
We don't know if the Empire is still in charge and they're still fighting the final battles, or if the rebellion is now in charge and the remnants of the Empire are trying to regain control. But go ahead and play it a little bit.
Okay.
So we see, pause, we see these X-Wings flying over this lake. It's a beautiful shot. It's a really cool, badass shot.
Kind of Abrams looking.
They're definitely going into battle of some sort on some water planet that's different from Tatooine, by the way.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice shot.
It's a very cool shot.
Yeah.
And now
Voldemort running through the woods looking for unicorns to suck their blood.
It does look like Voldemort.
With the voiceover as Voldemort runs through the woods, the dark side and the light. Of course, not at the beginning.
Well, I want to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
What does the terrain look like to you? I can't see. Is it snow?
It looks like snow to me.
With trees. Is that snow?
It looks like snow, but
it looks like he's walking through a misty, snowy forest.
It looks like he's behind Hogwarts. And I'm not making fun. It's a nice look.
Okay, go ahead.
But he is dressed like Professor Quirrell in the very first Harry Potter movie. Who's going out to find a unicorn to drink its blood so he can keep Voldemort alive.
Wow. Okay. Go forward a little bit further.
Okay. But I like the way it looks regardless.
And there is the moment.
And then he pulls out
the broadsword.
Yeah.
The large.
First, the sword part pops out, and you're like, "Ooh, it's skinny, cool." And then
it's long, and also there's something. It almost looks like it's a fiery sword. I know that sounds stupid, but
no, it does.
It doesn't look as sleek as the usual lightsaber. It looks a little like there's something wrong with it. Or it's a different design, or I don't know what.
I think that element of it looks more badass.
It's, okay, I will say this, and what you have it paused on right now would make an awesome,
wallpaper,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to say here. We assume that's the Sith, or, Sith Lord, or that's the bad guy. We don't know. Is that Andy Serkis? I don't know. Max von Sydow is in the cast, and he would make a great new Emperor.
Max von Sydow just fucking rocks. I love him.
As far as we know, all the Sith are dead, but we don't know. We don't know anything. This guy was
pretty spry going through the woods.
I don't know. He looks like he was
kind of skinny.
Hunched over.
He could be old.
He could be old, or he could be wounded, or he could just be a deformed sort of Sith creature.
Or he
I don't
could just be lurking evilly.
We don't know. There's so many questions, but we do know this design of this sword is controversial. I know.
Yeah.
People are like, well, he's just gonna
the hilt
cut his hand off. But if you look, there's a guard. If you make it big, there is a metal guard before that if his hand slid up the lightsaber, it would hit this metal guard.
But now if he turned it a certain way, he could chop his hand off.
I guess you're right.
Maybe. I don't know. I like the way it looks.
It's cool. But I don't know its functionality.
I'm curious to see it in a fight scene, being all swung around and stuff. And
yeah. And if it's meant to be two-handed, to me it looks a little short on the.
Yeah.
On that end of it, but anyway, we're getting really far into
Yeah, very nitpicky and all that.
We could speculate on and on about who this guy is, but obviously, you know,
he's a bad guy.
The Force Awakens.
If he's not a bad guy, I'll be shot.
Oh, the one thing I was thinking about was it would be the coolest thing. So it would be awesome if the stormtrooper, actually is a stormtrooper at the beginning.
Right.
That guy, that character. He's going to be one of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
How cool would it be if Luke had turned to the dark side?
That'd be freaking awesome.
I think that would be a very cool story that would parallel the original of how Anakin turned to the dark side.
Why would Luke turn
and
to the
then
dark
Luke
side, though?
Helps redeem him at the end. I don't know, but I just think it would make for great storytelling. I just think it would be cool and interesting.
I have a really strong feeling that you're not going to get your wish on that.
It's not a wish. It's just a speculation.
That'd be cool.
I mean, it's not going to
Hey,
be that.
if they do a good story, I don't care what happens.
No, because
I just want a good story.
We have to see Luke's green lightsaber. I hope he goes back to the blue lightsaber rather than the green. That's just a childish wish. But
I never liked the green lightsabers.
No.
Compared to every other one.
Did you like the purple lightsaber that Mace Windu wielded?
Kinda, yeah.
All right.
Is that lame?
Keep playing.
I
don't care. Just keep playing.
Okay. And so, like
and then
dude walking through the forest with the snow and the broadsword or whatever, the voiceover says the dark side and the light.
Then it goes to black. And boom! All of a sudden.
And then the moment.
The Millennium Falcon just pops into frame on Tatooine, and the camera's following it, and TIE fighters are shooting at it, and then it goes to the credits, the Star Wars credits with the theme.
But back up. The Millennium Falcon.
It gets chills. The way it was edited with the music.
It really is ingrained in me, because the second I saw it, I was just
Did you get goosebumps? I got goosebumps.
I was like, Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, is old Han flying it?
Yeah, that's the question. Is it old Han in there?
Did they have like is there a young boy that's
a young Han?
Like, Dad, can I have the keys tonight to take that popsicle riding girl out?
Oh God! Oh my holy
no,
God!
No, they'd be related.
Oh,
no, never mind. No more incest.
Enough with the incest. Why always? All right. So yeah, the way it was edited though was very, as an editor, you make the comment on that.
What do you mean, the whole trailer?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was good. It definitely.
It takes a little getting used to that jarring at the beginning when the guy pops up in the frame.
I like that though.
It gives it a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
And it tells you nothing about the story.
Right.
It's just some fun eye candy, a couple of little things for you to speculate on.
I was disappointed, obviously, that we didn't see Luke, Leia.
Did you think you were in the first teaser?
I had no idea what I was going to see, but I knew that I did want to see them, and now I understand. Well, that's what they're saving. They got to save that. I understand that, but yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. I can't wait for the full trailer.
Even in episodes 1, 2, and 3, still when Star Wars pops up on screen with the music, is still exciting.
Oh, it'll get you every time.
It does. Even if while I'm sitting in episode 1 watching a really shitty movie, it's still exciting when Star Wars pops up.
And John Williams is returning. He does the score. Michael, I can never pronounce his last name, and I'm sorry, Giacchino. God, I butcher his last name. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. He's the composer that did Star Trek. He's been with Abrams for a while.
Uh-huh.
He did the Star Trek music. You're gonna have to go to Star Trek.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm very happy with J.J. Abrams.
Holy shit! The Terminator trailer is up. Did you see that?
I saw
Terminator.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We gotta watch that.
Yeah, we do.
What? Okay, so this is really not. We don't have to do all this.
I just want to know.
Are you gonna have to go to all cast and crew?
I'll probably cut this part out.
I just want to see if you can pronounce his name.
Jesus Christ.
That's not it. It's Gia. It's not Jesus Christ. It's
No.
But I can see where you would mistake that. Giacchino. I don't know. I've never heard it pronounced, and I'm very sorry. But yeah, we're gonna look at his.
I love.
He's one of the best.
New Star Trek score.
Yeah, he's one of the best new composers. Scroll down.
Okay.
Keep scrolling. He's doing Jurassic World.
Wow,
He did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He did Star Trek movies. Scroll down. He did Super 8. He's been with Abrams for a while because he scored Lost, and so he's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the.
So he's working with John Williams on.
No, he's not.
Oh.
He stepped aside and let John Williams.
Oh.
I don't know what the deal was there, but you would think he would come along with Abrams to do, and I don't know how that decision was made, but I'm happy that John Williams is doing it.
I feel like Star Wars.
He did Let Me In, one of your favorite horror films.
Yeah.
And what else? He did some Pixar.
This dude's done a bunch of good scores.
Yes, he
good
has.
Good for him. But Star Trek is the new Star Trek.
Well, because it has
one of my favorite movies because it's like
it's old school.
There aren't that many movies these days.
That has a good theme.
Like you got Harry Potter.
Right, John Williams.
John Williams, yeah. Harry Potter's a good theme. Anytime a movie comes along that has an actual like old school theme, I get really excited. And when I went to see Star Trek the first time, I was, because it's at the beginning and it's so grandiose and everything. I was like, oh, I love this. I love it.
Okay, so now I guess that's it because I am dying to watch the Terminator teaser that just popped up on IMDb. Got to see that. And I got to eat so I can take my back pills.
Okay.
Anyway, you want to wrap it up and have some last thoughts?
Well, I mean, are we done talking about the trailer?
Yeah, but do you want to have some last thoughts about Star Wars, or do you want to go ahead to the plugs?
Well, I just, as far as the trailer, other than enjoying the Millennium Falcon and that extremely adorable little robot that I'll want a toy of, I'm sure.
That will die a horrible screaming death. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to prepare you.
I don't think J.J. Abrams is going to show us a cute little droid and then kill it.
Well, I can just see his little ball body exploding and then his head flying through the air and the noise.
Yeah. Oh, no, but I was going to say, I'm very optimistic because I like J.J. Abrams, and I think what he did with Star Trek's reboot was fantastic.
It's in
As
good
a
hands.
Trek fan, he didn't displease me in any way. A lot of the stuff a lot of Trek fans complained about, I thought it was great. Loved it.
There doesn't appear to be as much shaky cam and lens flare in this.
There is one lens flare. I noticed it because I tweeted about it when I watched it the first time.
This looks a little smoother, more
care,
locked down. I don't care. Whatever his style is fine because I was okay with it in the Star Trek movies. And he's got Lawrence Kasdan. I feel like the whole thing, the franchise is in good hands.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing but positive feelings about it.
I'll tell you, for me, what I was saying, other than the Millennium Falcon, the most exciting thing for me in this trailer was how the stormtroopers looked, assembling with their really cool looking blasters, and
I agree with you. That was my favorite part. Yeah.
Less cartoony.
Yeah,
they look kind of like Starship Troopers or something like that.
Yeah, when the starship, when they're making the drops.
Yeah, except they weren't on a drop ship. They were gonna walk down a ramp, but they had that.
Yeah, it had that feel.
Like they were trained soldiers.
Yeah.
Like they would be, you know.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I think that might have been the coolest thing for me.
That was my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah. So, obviously, we're excited.
Yeah.
Only have a year to wait.
Yeah, so leave us a comment if you will subscribe to our actual website. Is that what you call it? God, what is wrong with me? I need to eat. My brain is leaving me.
Babblegeeks.com.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Leave comments. And other plugs. You go ahead.
Okay, my plug, Friday Fondue on Twitter, #Friday Fondue. That's me at Kacey Sack. My links on the webpage, and at eFoxBand hosts our hashtag game, our wonderful Friday night hashtag game at
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Friday night.
Come and play.
And if you like playing hashtag games, they have the best categories. They come up with the most innovative topics and categories.
And we have something exciting coming, so...
Oh, you got a little surprise coming up.
Surprise coming up.
Okay. For me, I'm Krazy Jason on YouTube. You can just go to the YouTube search and type in Krazy Jason with a K. Go to my channel. Please subscribe. Got another plug.
I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Jeremy at One Ring on Twitter.
Yeah.
Been great supporting us.
Oh yeah, he followed me and gave some great tweets about our first podcast.
Gave me like some good criticism.
Yeah.
And compliments, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because he deserves it. Everyone loves Jeremy. He's great.
Yeah, go and follow him.
Yeah.
See what else? What else? There was something else I was going to. Now it's left me.
I'm sorry.
No brain food. No food for brain.
You need to eat.
Okay, so that'll do it. We're gonna say goodbye now. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this podcast. Here at Babblegeeks.com.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you very much, and goodbye.